iOS comes with a built-in timer class that lets us run code on a regular basis. Now, this uses a system of publishers that comes from an Apple framework called Combine. It was launched at the same time as SwiftUI way back in iOS 13, but it has since then been mostly superseded by Swift language features like the await keyword. Now, Apple's core system library is called Foundation, and it gives us things like date, data, sort descriptor, user defaults, and much more. And it also gives us a timer class, which is designed to run a function after a certain number of seconds, but it can also run code repeatedly. Combine adds an extension to this, so timers become publishers, which are things that announce changes when their value changes. Now, the code to create a timer is real simple. We can say up here, let timer be a new timer that will publish every 1 second on main in common, and then auto connect. Now that one line of code does several things all at once. First, it asks our timer to fire every 1 second. Then it says our timer should fire on the main thread, which is safe for UI. It also says this thing should run on the common run loop, which is the one you'll want to use most of the time. Behind the scenes, run loops let iOS handle running code while the user is actively doing something else, like scrolling in a list, for example. It then connects the timer immediately, which means it will start counting on that time. Finally, it assigns the whole thing to our timer constant so it's stashed away safely. Now, once this timer starts, it's going to send change announcements that we can monitor in SwiftUI using a new modifier called onReceive. This accepts a publisher as its first parameter and a function to run as its second parameter, and it will make sure that function is called whenever the publisher sends that change notification. For our timer example, we can receive its notifications like this. Let's say we have a simple hello world to begin with. I'll add onReceive of that timer change announcement. We'll be given the new time. I'll simply do print the time is now that time value, like so. And when I press Command R, that's going to print the time every second until it's stopped. You can see here down here, 42, 43, 44, and so forth. Now, speaking of stopping the timer, it takes a little bit of digging to stop the one we created. Because this timer property we just made here is an auto-connected publisher. So we have to go to its upstream publisher to find the timer itself. From there, we can connect to the time publisher and then ask it to cancel itself. Honestly, if it weren't for code completion, this would be rather hard to find. Here's how it looks in code. We could say down here, func cancel timer, our timer, upstream.connect.cancel, like this. For example, we could update as existing code so our timer fires only 5 times in total. We could say here we have @state private var counter is 0. Then in our onReceive, when it does receive that time changing, if our counter is equal to 5, that's what we'll call timer.upstream.connect.cancel. Otherwise, we'll print out the new time value, but either way, we're going to add 1 to count, like that. This whole count entire thing can just go away. Oh, count or counter. Counter's a better name. Counter. There we go. So now let's press Command R. We should see it's fired exactly 5 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cancel. No more. Now, before we're done, there is one more important timer concept I want to show you. If you're okay with your timer having a little bit of float, you can specify some tolerance. This allows iOS to perform important energy optimization. It means it can fire your timer at any point between its scheduled fire time and its scheduled fire time plus that tolerance value you specify. In practice, this means iOS can perform an important thing called timer coalescing. It can push back your timer just a little bit, so it fires at the same time as one or more other timers. So it means it can keep the CPU idling more and therefore save battery power. As an example, we have this thing firing every second right now. I can add to this tolerance of 0.5, half a second of tolerance here. And now it will fire definitely at least once a second, maybe once every 1.5 seconds, for example. Never before every second. Now, if you need to keep time strictly, then leaving off tolerance like so will make your timer as accurate as possible. But please note, even without tolerance being specified, the timer class is still called best effort. The system makes no guarantee it'll execute precisely once a second.